So I found that to be very, very effective.
So the big question is, what are top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? To get the answers, we interview top real estate agents to learn their secrets to success. Listen, we believe every agent should make a minimum of $100,000 per year, and we're on a mission to make this happen. We've already helped over 100 agents achieve this with our coaching. So if you want to fast track your business growth, get to your first $100,000 in GCI or add another $100,000 in GCI using social strategies, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com, or you can just click the link in the description below. Also, just make sure to follow us, hit that subscribe button, and if you get any value from this at all, please tell a friend and leave us a review. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Elite Agent Secrets. Today we've got Vince Grant with us. He's been in real estate for 33 years. Last year in 2021, he did 1.6 million in GCI. He's sold over 2,200 homes. That's 2,200 homes. He's got a team of 5, 2 agents, 3 admin. Vince is about to rock your world. We've just been chatting off air. This guy, we're going to get him to open up and stop being so timid, because anyone that sells over 2,000 homes, obviously a fucking rock star, and he's going to bring some heat for you guys today. We're going to be discussing time blocking, past client marketing, and leveraging a team so you can sell 2,200 homes too. That's how we're doing it today, guys. So Vince, thanks for jumping on the show with us today.
Yes, absolutely. And boy, man, I hope I can live up to what you just said.
We have no doubt, basically, from everything you've shared with us before the show. So for the audience to hear, Vince, take us back to day one. How did you even get into this industry overall?
Oh, boy. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. So I remember the day. So I'm a minor league musician. So I play the drums and have for many years. And at the time I was playing in a Christian rock band, and we were traveling around and had done a couple records. And I was selling computers, and my wife said, hey, maybe you should sell real estate so you'd have more time to travel around and do your music. And I went, okay. Basically, honestly, that's as much thought as it went. I'm like, I just want to play the drums, man, and I'll do whatever I got to do to be able to play the drums. And it provided more flexibility so we could travel around, and so that's how I got into it.
That's so cool.
And then what happened then when you got into it? So what's always interesting is first few years, like Vince, did you walk into real estate and you just started selling 100 homes a year? What happened? How did it go? How were the first few years? Did it fulfill like paying your bills? And give us a bit of a trajectory. 33 years, to be fair, of everyone that's actually been on the show today, I think you might have been in it the longest, believe it or not. We've had a few people deep in the 20s, like 26s, 27s. I think you're holding the torch here at 33. So you get to keep that flag for yourself on the Elite Agent Secret Show. As of this second, you are the longest serving realtor we've had on. So how did that go? Give us a trajectory. I know 33 years is a long time, but I think it gives people perspective of, was there a ramp? How did it all go for you?
Yeah, it was difficult at best. Yeah, I mean, we were broke, basically a broke musician, and I almost ran out of money a bunch of times. Now remembering back, my first deal, so I went to FSBOs. I just figured I got to be in front of people. So I went to see for sale by owners, and I showed up at this house, and these people are like, yeah, we're selling it on our own. And I'm trying to kind of be a professional real estate agent. And they're like, I think we recognize you. And I'm like, oh, no, don't go there. Like, I'm not the musician you saw. No, we think, and I'm like, no, I don't know really what you're talking about. I'm really just and basically like, you're the drummer in that band. That's who you are. And then I was like, oh God, now the cat's out of the bag. And they basically just knew I was broke and let me sell their house. So that was my first deal, just dumb luck, but also showing up, whatever. I would show up at a lot of FSBOs. That's what I did for the first 3 or 4 years. And just barely did enough to survive. But I did get early on this, we talked about time blocking, this I'm kind of old school, but I've had a similar system to this. It's just a 2-page spiral binder, and I have a column on the right side that's called AP, which is after prospecting. And I've just tried to discipline myself because when I'm trying to do my lead gen stuff in the morning, every time there's a million things that, I've got to do that or this or the other thing. And instead of doing those things, I write it on that list. And that's my release. Like, yeah, make the website better. Yeah, better postcard, whatever. And I'm like, I'll do that later. I got to do my lead gen first 3 hours in the morning. I did adhere to that. And I feel like that's helped me.
Before we dive into an unpacked time blocking, giving people the insight into the first topic there, Vince, there has been a big change. What I want to do is I want to try and, you're blatantly, for everyone listening, you can tell you're a humble guy. You're going to be like, I just did a few deals and now I do loads, but you are obviously crushing it. So I want to figure out how you do 1.6 million in GCI last year and how you've sold 2,200 homes, because showing up at FSBOs for 4 or 5 years, broke, making it work. Now there's a big difference where you are now. So how has that transition happened? What were the things that allowed you, did you start marketing? Was it, you put systems in place? Just give people perspective of what it really has taken. Like, it's taken 33 years and, you're very successful now, but it obviously wasn't always like that. And what are some of the key elements you think over your 33 journeys that people listening could take from you, where it's like these things were very, very important for you to see the growth? And even I really want to dive into last year as well, because 1.6 million in a year is amazing, and just unpack last year too. So yeah, what were some of those things over this journey that allowed you to find more consistency and growth to where you are now? Sure.
Yeah, so great question. Let me think about that. So the way things are working now, I work 20 to 30 hours a week.
Wow.
I've got just over 8 million in paid for real estate. So I did try to buy a rental house each year. So I did do that. And I can count on one hand the amount of kids events that I've missed over the years. So I feel like a lot of that was the adherence to the lead gen first, and then time blocking. Like my dad disappeared when I was young, and my wife and I both very committed to having a good family. And it's not been easy, but we've been able to stick it out, and our kids are squared away. Anyway, so that's been very important. While I'm on that, so when my kids were growing up, I tried to do a really good job of combining the two. So I coached all their stuff. And when I was coaching their stuff, I made sure that I was talking to the other parents. And I wasn't the sales guy like, hey, come buy a house, but I would just make sure real estate came up. So I did build a lot of my sphere through my kids' stuff. So that definitely helped get things going. So let me start with last year, and then maybe I can rewind into.
Yeah, absolutely.
And before you do that, can I just say that's very impressive that you can count on one hand on how many events you've missed, because that's one of the things that I struggle with. And I'm sure a lot of people who are going to be listening to this, where they're prioritizing their business, they're not necessarily, they want to prioritize their family, but they have no idea how to do that. So you saying that you've been in the business for 33 years, doing over 2,200 transactions, and still only missing maybe a handful or less of events, that means that you're definitely onto something where your priorities are there, which means your priorities are actually your priorities, and you're sticking to it, and you're consistent over a long period of time. And I guess when it comes to how you organize your business, your work-life balance, whatever that means, it's very much in alignment with what's important to you.
Yeah, that was, has been very, very difficult for me, so I had a pretty screwed up childhood and a dad that wasn't around. And I could feel myself as a young once I left the music thing and I got all the way into real estate, I could feel the pull. Like I got very workaholic, kind of addicted tendencies. And I could tell I had a fair amount of just just blind ambition. And I started to recognize early, I feel like I was trying to impress an absent father who was never there and never really cared anyway. And I was just killing myself for kind of no reason. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I think in 20 years from now, this extra deal I could get by missing my kid's game will turn to gravel in my mouth. It was hard though, because I really wanted to do that extra deal a lot. So it was very hard.
It was a standard you set. You just set a standard. You know, it was like, I'm not willing to say, I mean, I commend you like massively, because I think Peter, if anything, he underplayed the fact that I think it's like 90+% of real estate agents don't know how to segment, and they do miss. I always remember this story. Someone who actually worked for us was a sales lady, obviously all names unmentioned, but her mum was actually also a very, very successful real estate broker. Made a lot of money, big team, all that stuff. And her memory of her childhood, it was like, Christmas Day, my mum leaving to go and sell a home. And like, it was like, and everyone's different. And I'm not saying you're going to feel like this or any one of our listeners, but it was interesting her working, and we're in real estate ourselves and her selling, and her memories weren't good. It wasn't that their family are millionaires. It wasn't that they built this huge company. It was that their parents weren't there on Christmas Day because they were selling homes. It was that every time they had an event, parents weren't there. And the fact that you've gone 33 years, 5 maybe.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think most people, that kind of is the goal. I think it's most people's goal. Most people actually would take away, especially, I mean, I was speaking about this the other day. For anyone listening, Mike Tyson, Iron Mike, one of the most famous boxers in the world, he said he made, give or take, about $400 million in his career. And he was getting asked in an interview not that long ago, and they were like, 400 million, how'd you lose that? Like, do you not want to go and want it back? And he's like, I've got everything a man could ever want. He's like, I just get to spend time with my kids now. He's like, the false reality was when I was earning all the money, that I didn't spend time with my children or anything. I was out partying, doing all that dumb shit. And he's like, I look back and I was like, fuck, that was so stupid. Like, now I get to spend time with my kids. It's the richest I've ever felt.
Yes.
And that's a guy who made $400 million.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. Well, and you just reminded me, like, I mean, I can think of all the time, like, we go out and I got my kids and my family, we're together. That's worth all the money in the world to me. Like, my kids want to be around. We do Sunday night dinners. They're all in their late 20s, but we still get together because they want to be together. And what you just said, that's, God, if I had another 10 grand in the bank because I did a deal 20 years ago, it would be useless.
Yeah.
Well, so.
And that deal on Christmas Day that you went and got 10K for, but you missed Christmas Day. It's like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
I think most people, you've got to stop looking for the dime, right now, and just understand that sometimes the future payoff will always be bigger. And that's hard when you're broke. Like, it's hardest when you've got nothing, and it gets exponentially easier as you get richer, which also for a lot of people listening as well, when you get those super wealthy people and you're like, can we just have a call for 15 minutes? The reason they don't do that a lot of the time is not because they're going to be annoyed or whatever. It's because they value putting their time most of the time in their family. That is what I've come across a lot. This is not real estate related at all. This is very wealthy guy called Naval Ravikant. I absolutely love him. He's got some very high level thinking. He's in the tech space. And like, you for love nor money, you can't get a call with him. He's like, you could offer me 100 grand for 15 minutes. I'm not taking it. And then he got asked, what do you do with your time? He's like, I've got 2 children or 3 children and a wife. He's like, I spend all my time with them because it's where I feel most wealthy. And it's like, holy fuck. Like, this guy's a billionaire. And it's like, I don't like, but I think for people listening to the show, that's so far removed where it's like, I want to make 100 grand a year, which is what we're trying to get everyone to do here. You realize that actually what you're talking about, which we've gone quite deep on this, is like, sometimes you got to set a standard. Sometimes you just got to say no, because in the future, the thing you missed right now, it's not going to be, it's not going to be worth it. Right. take the thing right now, take the family time. I know Peter's got his second child on the way, so this is more prevalent to him now. Whereas like, I need to build a business for the future. And like, there will be some sacrifices along the way. There always is. But if yours was like, I'm never sacrificing events, I think a lot of people listening really want to have that standard and really want to stick with it because it matters to them. One of mine, for example, I never miss Christmas, ever. Never. Peter came around this year, Christmas, we're working 2 weeks. So I was like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, we're business partners. We do everything together. I was like, but although this was tongue in cheek, I was like, don't contact me. Don't message me. There's no calls. I'm spending time with my family. I've got 2 weeks. Fuck off.
But sometimes you need that. You need that separation in order to be rejuvenated.
The only time of the year.
I'm sure, like, because you prioritize this, you're not dreading doing what's required in your business because you, first of all, allocate the time for it, you plan for it, but then you also know where that stacks in on the, on the to-do list, because there's no priority list. You can only have one priority. Like, what's the priority? And that's the way at least I approach it. There can be things that are important and you number them, but there's only one thing that's a priority because you can't do two things at once. And if you do, please let me know how you do it, how you duplicate yourself.
Well, you guys were talking about it the other day on one of the episodes I listened to about the glass and you put coffee in or whatever. And I've heard the same thing. Like you put the big rocks in first, then you fill in, so I'm going to put in my family, my workout, my quiet time, whatever. And I'm going to pour work in as it fits around those things. That's kind of the,
and I went on such a big tangent there. How did you do 1.6 million? I know everyone's listening to me like, I get standards. Tell me how you did 1.6 million, Vince. The listeners are screaming at their speakers right now. Vince, tell me how I get 1.6 million in my back pocket.
Got it. All right. Well, here's some specifics. So I was listening to a Brian Buffini episode the other day, and he was talking about how 90% of people say they would use their agent again, but only 22% or something like that can remember who their agent was. And so I did 1.6 million. I think just over like 55% of that is past client or sphere business. Then I work with referral sites like effectiveagent.com, HomeLight, Referral Exchange, Agent Machine. So I tried to do a bunch of internet marketing 8 or 9 years ago, and I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to try to get at the top of these lists. I'm just going to sign up with the companies that already are. So I pay referral fees to those. That's probably 15, maybe 20% of my business. And now a bigger chunk, maybe 30%-ish, is it's SEO, but I did not crush SEO. I've just gotten really big in the last year on it. I had to move offices. So I was in Bothell, Washington. That office closed. So I moved to Linwood, Washington. Well, I had developed a deal where I would get at least a call, if not 2 a month, where people would just say, I want a good agent in my area, and my website would come up more organically because I had lots of sales and reviews. I'm big on reviews. I ask for reviews. Those have helped get me to the top of the thing, SEO organically. And then when I moved offices, I lost a lot of that. So now I'm paying a company to help my SEO stuff. I can go way into that if you want, but I'm not doing videos. So a lot of people are doing videos on social media, big things. I'm not doing that. I'm doing lots of past client marketing and then some SEO stuff and some referral stuff. So specifically on the past client marketing, what I'm doing now, so I'm big on Facebook, friending my clients, and then somebody on my team spends at least a half hour, if not an hour a day, messaging, liking, and just engaging with my past clients on Facebook. So it's super cheap. I have a VIP list, where just all my client friends are in that list, and if they haven't posted something in the last several months, my assistant will just message them. How's it going, Jerry? It's been a year since your transaction with us. I just want to say hello, and see if you or anybody you know need anything. So it's just a touch base message on Facebook, or I'm engaging with them on Facebook. Very cheap and super effective. Another thing that I do, so I've got a marketing calendar, and what I do, let me pull that up here. So I send out anniversary cards of all my past clients. So I've got 773 past clients that are in state still. I send out an anniversary card with a Starbucks card to all them. What I'm doing now more recently is I want engagement on that. So I send a text to everybody that did a deal with me in January. It's a group text, and we've got it set up. It says, hey, Bill and Susie, it's been a year since our transaction. I'm sending out a card. I just want to make sure you like Starbucks. And I want them to respond back. So engagement is the thing that I'm trying to get. Instead of just mailing a card, I want some engagement with them. And they'll just text back, oh, yeah, I love Starbucks. Of course. How's it going? Great. And then I send out the Starbucks card. So that's another way I stay in touch. And I do get people calling, maybe not once a month, but several times a year. Hey, Vince, how's it going? Yeah, it's been 22 years. You keep sending me those Starbucks cards. Come sell my house. So it's small, seems insignificant, but staying in touch that way. I do items of value. Right now I'm doing 3 a year, same drill, Valentine's candy. So I have one of my staff, same thing. We text everybody in the area. Maybe there's 150 texts that'll go out. I wanted to drop off a Valentine's gift. Just want to make sure you're going to be home to receive it. I want the engagement. So they'll text back. Yeah, sure. We'll be in town. How's it going? Great. We're going to drop it off on Thursday or whatever. And those conversations always end up going somewhere real estate related. Somebody will end up going somewhere real estate related. So it's a Valentine's gift. It's a Thanksgiving pie. We just go to Costco, buy the pie and deliver them. And then I've been doing a lot of less expensive sporting event tickets. So for example, the Seattle Mariners are terrible. So it's easy to give, well, what I like.
Some people are listening to this, Vince, and being like, you fucking what? Seattle Mariners are the best team in the world. And like, we're coming for you, Vince. I was going to sell my home through you, but not anymore because Seattle Mariners are my favorite.
Sorry.
I love the sports rivalry. It's like
I love the Mariners, but my point is this: what I love more is offering people tickets to a game who say no, thank you, because I don't want to buy tickets to 20 Mariner games. I'd like to just buy 2 or 3 pair of tickets and give them away. So
guilty confession.
Yes, exactly. So what I do is I try to wait till if the game's Friday night, I send out messages Thursday morning, knowing most people's Friday night is already booked. And the message just says, hey, past client, I've got some tickets for the Mariner game Friday night. Want to see if you're interested. Almost 100% of them say no because it's too late. They're already booked. But the love has been sent. So I found that to be very, very effective. And then, every once in a while, somebody will say, well, yeah, we'll go. And great. We go online, buy some tickets and send them the tickets. But several times a year, I'm hitting clients, offering them tickets, not Seattle Seahawks tickets that everybody would take immediately. So it's Everett Silvertips, Seattle Mariners, University of Washington basketball, Seattle Sounders, Seattle Storm, girls basketball, things like that are less popular. But it's a good way to send love and offer people something.
I quite like that strategy because also, I'm not saying every relationship is like this, but, if you've been with someone for a little while, you like to do stuff that's a little bit different. You might want to go out, see an event, and whether they're supporters or not, you might just want to do it. Obviously football is very big in England as well. So football teams, all that, most people know that. Same, you got that kind of cult like following. And sometimes you just want to go to a game, even if they're not your team, just because it's something to do. Like you just get yourself out and you experience something and it's an event, it's an occasion. And I quite like that. I think it's a really nice strategy because I think it provides something of different value. And it's something that, if something funny happens or something, it's like, oh, do you remember that Mariners game we went to? Yeah, it was awesome. We got that free, wasn't it? Vince gave us that free. And it's like, oh my God. Like, do you know what I mean? Like somehow you end up
creating memories and experiences.
Create memories. And the memories were created technically by you. Like you were like instrumental in that happening. I love these past marketing strategies. Some of these are fantastic. Oh, and by the way, if you're interested in gaining access to our course and coaching programs, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com.